Hola amigos, bien o no, y saludos desde Medellín. Otro día más aquí. Tema de hoy, toma todas las partes. En el sentido de cuando estás leyendo, leer todas las partes. Ese es el tema de hoy. So, hello again from Medellín. On a splendid evening here. The theme of the day, take all the parts, or read all the parts. So, in this sense, when we're reading material, particularly if we're reading something like a novel or like a dialogue between people, often we have a different set of voices. We have maybe the narrator's voice, and then we have voices of people who are talking to each other. When you're reading that type of script or book, or indeed when you're listening to that type of podcast, and perhaps you're reading it later with the transcript next to it to help you understand the words, think about how some of the voices are a bit different. Try and listen for, or try and put into your reading, the different tone of voice that people use. For example, when they're the narrator, which might be different to the tone of voice they're using if they're one of the characters who's speaking. And similarly, if you're listening to this sort of thing as like a podcast and you're following the transcript, look at the difference in tone of voice, maybe speed of delivery between the person that's presenting it or asking the questions and maybe the guest or other people on the show who are talking to each other. Try and be conscious of how we use different tones of voice depending on who we're talking to or depending on the context we're in. So we might use a different type of voice if we're trying to tell you something very factual, serious information, things we want you to remember clearly, perhaps, and if we're talking to you in a more relaxed social kind of context and we're just chatting about day-to-day stuff or telling you funny stories. It's just to get you used to how tone of voice can change even with similar words, and that tone of voice brings a different meaning. So in that sense, read all the voices, take all the parts, think about who am I if I'm doing this part of reading, who am I if I'm doing that. Practice the voice in different ways. Happy thought. We'll say cheerio for now.